That I'd been working for other offices for about 5 years. So I like this quote by Peter Drucker that the only things that evolve by themselves in an organization are disorder, friction, and malperformance. Entropy in a system will only increase. So you need intervention to be able to make sure that you have the data, the systems are organized. So what are the various aspects? What are the things? So exploring data volumes is one of the big challenge. What is the next one? Time-consuming data preparation tasks. As I said, are we ready to invest that little more time such that that data comes in a kind of a very orderly manner? We face the challenge of talent shortage. We can't do everything ourselves, and our team is just not ready to adopt the data management policies that we have developed. So that is another, or we are not even able to get people who will do that job for us. Data access and security is another big challenge, and regulatory compliance. It's not something very big for many of us yet, but I'm sure many of us do face a lot of, we give data purging affirmations every quarterly to a lot of lenders. We give data privacy and data confidentiality agreements with a lot of, these are regulatory compliances. We do it quite mindlessly actually, but the fact is that if there is one incidence, you may get into a soup, and the times are only going to be much trickier going forward. So regulatory compliance is going to become much, much more stringent as we go forward. So these are only some of the challenges that we are facing today. Before we go on to understanding what may be the data management strategies, let us just try to look at the data, the sphere of data on a universal scale just for a minute. We are standing at 2023, where we are at about 67, 100 zettabytes of data being produced per annum across the world, which in 2 years will be 175 zettabytes. Look at the growth of data that is happening universally. And in 2035, at 2025, we talked about 175 zettabytes. 2035, in 10 years, that becomes 2,142 zettabytes. So this is not only what is happening universally, your own data also is going to explode like this, believe me. If at all you have the statistics to be able to look at on your own systems, how much data were you producing per annum 10 years back, 9 years back, 8 years back, 6 years back, 4 years back, 2 years back. And if you make a graph of it, I'm telling you, at least mine one is worse than this. I don't know about you, but I'm producing many, many more times than this graph. Our data needs have exploded like nobody's business. So and this is a universal thing, and this is from multiple sources that this information is coming, and it's very reliable. But within that, there is one interesting thing. You look at this data growth, amazing data growth. But what is this? This is the structured data, and this is the unstructured data. And this is only up to 2017. We don't have the data divisions for structured and unstructured data post-17. But if you look at this thing, then the maddening rise has been in unstructured data, while the structured data growth, though it is still 60 to 70% per annum, but it has been quite modest, actually. What contributed to the unstructured data is the coming of so many portals where AI and ML and other aspects, you just keep on dumping data. In fact, it's happening within our infrastructure, within our organization also, that there is a lot of dumping of data. Data that doesn't get cleaned, or data that doesn't get organized. So That is, whether that data ever becomes accessible or not is a big question. But talking of unstructured data, what is structured data? Everything that's jumbled together is unstructured data. But when you have it categorized, when you are able to find it, I mean, when it's in a kind of a containers where you can recognize it, when you can know it, that is kind of structured data. So what is it that we need? Whether we need structured data or unstructured data? Can somebody please again unmute and tell me, and why so? Can we use only structured? Yes, please.
Ideally, we should have it as a structured data, sir. But there are so many constraints in getting it structured. Like, no, forget structuring it. What is needed, what is not needed.
Yes.
To decide that is a big challenge. It's not that our staff can really decide on that. And in this process, no, we just store something which is irrelevant also, because we don't have the time to find out what is needed or what is not needed.
Absolutely. So in very simple wordings, I say that the systems that we are using are dumb systems. My laptop is absolutely dumb. My mobile is a little smarter than my laptop, but it is also not very smart. So to be able to access the unstructured data becomes very, very difficult for me. So to some extent, we are being able to do it to some extent. How? Like suppose I have 5,000 photos in my mobile. Now, it's unstructured data, they're photographs, but in an album. Now I want to look at the photo where I met Anbu sir in Pondicherry in 2018. How do I go to that? So I can go to the location and see how many photos did I click in Pondicherry, and then I can easily locate my photo with Anbu sir. That is usage of the geolocation within that photo. Suppose my geolocation was not on at that point of time, I did not allow access to location, then it would not be placed in that position. Then how can I do it? So I can search for Anbu sir by person, search person in the mobile. So it will try to find all the faces where Anbu sir is there, and will try and tell me, okay, these are all the photos that you have there with this person. Now that's using artificial intelligence. So I'm using the smart features to some extent. Suppose if that also is not being able to recognize because I don't have enough photos with him, and I'm not being able to train my system to find photos with him, then I can go by the timeline. So there's a very limited amount of, but there are situations, I went to the site and I just scribbled some notes. Now my OCR is not being able to really OCR. I hope you understand what is OCR, object and character recognition. That OCR is the one that makes your PDFs readable it extracts the characters out of it. But it will be able to do that if you are using, generally speaking, English language. If you're using vernacular language, some of the languages, some of the alphabets it will understand, but it will not understand completely. Also, if my handwritings are very bad, it may have major difficulty in being able to extract the characters. So there is a limitation. Now you have on your laptop, you just got Copilot. I don't know how many of you know of that. You've got your Copilot on your Windows 11. Copilot is again artificial intelligence enabled feature, where an app which allows you to use some of these advanced. So they're trying to make your mobile laptop a little smarter, but we are still not there. So being able to access this unstructured data is still very difficult for us as individuals or as non-corporates. Only the corporates who have a huge setup of artificial intelligence systems, they use the image recognition and other features to be able to extract the required information and to use unstructured data. So we will just look at what are some of the differences between structured and unstructured data, and quickly, because it's not very important. But so flexibility, unstructured data, there is an absence of schema, so it is more flexible. You can just keep on dumping your data. But for structured data, you need to have, it's very less flexible because there is a schema. It's schematic dependent. So you have to put it into the right containers, into the right place. And then scalability is also very hard, because how much can you scale that database? There is a new field to be added, then you need to go and add that field to the all the thing. But because unstructured data, you're just dumping it, so it's very scalable. And robustness is very poor in unstructured data, because it's amorphous data, it's homogeneous, heterogeneous. So you cannot really, so it's not very robust. While your structured data is very robust, you can rely upon that to a very great extent. Now, performance-wise, you can perform a structured query that allows, say, complex joining parameters you can use. So the performance is very fast, or your system performance, your system computing power that is required is very less. But for unstructured data, you need very high processing power to be able to retrieve your queries from that. So you need a very high processing power, you need systems, you need a lot of coding and all for that. Now, nature again, structured data is quantitative, and it consists of hard numbers of things that can be counted. I can say that, okay, I have 2,347 village maps. But you cannot, within the qualitative data, in this unstructured data, you cannot say how many village maps are there in this, or how many. So until you do a query, so you need to do a query to be able to get a report for anything. While within your structured data, you can get reports for anything without really having to do a query. And again, at formats, it has got predefined format. I can save my village maps, as I said, and I can save it in JPG, PNG, PDF. All right, that's it, maybe. But in as far as in unstructured data, I can just put it into any format and then try and retrieve it from that. Again, analysis it's very easy to search, but unstructured data is very, very difficult. Now, I will not go into the details of why, who, what, when, where, but try and understand that we basically need structured data. For us, the structured data is what we are targeting. Unstructured data is the thing to target if you have the systems to be able to access it when you want. Because that way, though the volume is very large, you're saving a lot of time to save that unstructured data. But if the system is not robust, if you cannot retrieve what you want when you want it, then that data is useless. So for all your essential data, and at least for the things that for which you don't have a better system, then it is best to have a structured data into your systems.